What's good? What's good?
What it do?
What's
What
happening?
it does. Hey guys, I think
In case you don't know, guys, welcome to 5Roundz. I am One Tally. We've got Patrick, we've got Freddie, we've got Ovi Too Nice, and we've got Patso. How are you doing, guys?
Oh, good. And yourself, man?
Doing good.
we're weekend. We're weekend.
Yeah, man.
Glad to be here,
man.
Exactly. It's another
Yeah.
week, another week, another topic. Are we excited or what?
I love this.
I'm over the moon, man. I'm over
Guys,
the
I
moon.
love this topic. I think
Friday the 13th, yeah?
this
Yeah.
is one of the topics that
Is
I'm going to
it?
speak a lot.
Yeah, so now the topic we have today is it might be a little bit controversial, for the people that trust this sort of thing, people that trust the process, I guess, all my academic people out there. So the topic the topic today is the problem with the education system, right? So what do we mean by that? Basically, we're going to explore what we think the issues are in the education system, right? So what we're going to do first is we're going to look at the current structure in the world and Africa. Obviously, because we're of African origin, we'll probably lean towards Africa more, and I'm sure that some of us have completed our education as well in the Western world as well. So, guys, it's going to be a mad one. It's going to be a mad one. Straight away, Anne-Marie, straight with a comment going Friday the 13th. I hope you did the lotto well. Do that for us.
It's not bad luck,
I
though.
haven't played the lotto in ages.
I know.
What's the winning, value now? Like,
Hell no.
Right. It doesn't matter. You ain't going to win.
I don't
Doesn't
even
matter.
know.
You ain't going to win. You ain't going to win.
We're going to win today by addressing the education system. You get me? So, yeah. The first question, guys, I'm going to ask, what is the current structure of the education system, right? What is the current structure of the education system? I think I will start with Patrick. He looks eager to answer this one. What do you think the current structure is? And, we can all add into this, guys. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer because obviously it's based on experience. It's not like we built the education structure. It's based on experience. So what do you think is the current structure, or what structure were you brought up on?
Look, man, for me, the structure, right? The structure, especially from my time, it was always, it was built on knowledge through books and numbers. It was always books and numbers. And I think I've said this multiple times to you guys. You could go through this system easily by being good at memorizing stuff. Because I remember I got 98% in the business studies exam. By memorizing the whole... Thank you. But look, I memorized the whole book. I memorized the whole business studies book and also memorized the questions there. But did I understand what was happening? Yeah, the whole book. You can ask my brother. Memorize the whole thing, and my brother was asking me word by word. I was missing a few words. I could know exactly what page and everything is. That's how crazy it was. But guess what? I didn't understand anything.
Okay.
All I knew was if they asked.
Okay,
yeah, but you get where I'm coming from.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, so let me get back to the main point. Anyway.
Yes.
So
please.
basically, the system I went through was you go to nursery school, that's like a crash for here. Then you go to primary school. After that, you spend time in primary school. Then you go to secondary school, and after you succeed secondary school, you have to go to university, get picked somewhere, or you are able to pick a place if you can afford it. But as I said, it mostly focused on books and numbers. That's the system I was working on. That's what I can say. I can leave the rest for the rest of the guys.
Okay, so Patrick's cutting out there a little bit. So what he said was the structure that he went through. I'm guessing that was in Africa, right? That was in Malawi.
Yeah, that's mostly the African one, and even the same thing with the whole books and numbers. It also applies to the one in Europe, but not the one currently. The one currently has changed. I think these days, to be honest with you, they have got a 5-3-3-4 system in schools. It was introduced in 2020. Basically, what the 5-3-3-4 is you spend 5 years, right? in sort of foundation stage of the school. Then 3 years you spend in the like preparing stage. So preparatory stage is 3 years. Then 3 years you spend in middle school. Then after that, 4 years in secondary school. That's the system that introduced since 2020 by the NEPS. So that's the system that's been implemented. But before, they also had the same system. You go to crash. After crash, you start off into the primary school. After primary school, you go to secondary school, and everything was focused on books and numbers. That's basically what I can say. Yeah.
Okay, so Patrick's point in structure, he says, look, the structure of the education system was highly focused on books and numbers, and it was a stage-by-stage sort of system where you're in this section, which is primary school, then you go into secondary, and then you go on to university. I want to just go a little bit deeper into that, guys. In terms of this education structure, right, do you think that it was a structure that was set like one rule for everyone, or was it catered to certain people? You know, was this structure basically, this is what we've got for you, this is what you need to learn? So guys, if you can add into that. I see Ovi shaking his head. So Ovi, what do you think? What was the structure like for you? You know, the education structure.
I think the education structure when I grew up in Africa, but it wasn't catered for everyone. All right, it was catered for. It's either you do this or you ain't going to pass. All right, there was no let's meet on the middle. All right, like the way I'm talking this, I don't want to bring too much into it. Like when I'm here in Europe, I understood and I can see how the education structure goes and how they work around it. There's so many people, different understandings, different ways of learning. Where we come from this is the way we're going to learn. Either you like it or you fail. Well, here, here they would understand. They would diagnose a child.
No,
and say,
but
right.
just to cut you there, we did also, like back home, we did have classes like A, B, and C, which A classified the smarter ones. C, so C was like the middle.
That's the issue. You just mentioned the issue.
But friend, you and me went to the same school, so that's true. We had A, B, C, and D, right?
So
you're at the same high school. You and me. Listen, A was for smart, B was for smarty, C was for If you go to D or C, these are like these guys people. Are dumb people. But
no. You don't use that word, man. There's no one dumb in this world.
Okay, but no, listen, let me get to my point.
Obviously, I'm just saying.
Let me get to my point. But what I'm trying to say is, you see the way you're classing it, that's how they classed you. While here, what they're going to do is, A, this is these guys that have got a fully understanding. B is these guys that can understand some things, and this can. C, these are type of people that maybe have got a dyslexic.
Need longer time.
You need more time with them. But in our country, they will just class you as dumb.
Okay,
that's the difference of education system.
So my question is, so the system in where you went to school, the system actually considered people of certain different learning difficulties. Is that what you're saying? So they sort of grouped you by learning, by how quick you learn and how well you process information. Yeah.
But they want to teach you differently. They want to understand your problem. They'll just class you to say you're dumb, so you need to stay out there. You know what I mean? They didn't try to work with you to say, okay, what is the problem with this person? All right, this person, when there's so many conditions. I know there's people, they look at mathematical equation and all they see is jiggles. You know what I mean? They see a lot of things. It does happen, and it's a condition.
Yeah, that's true.
They don't understand it where we come from. They just think this guy is dumb. He can't solve maths.
Yeah.
You like. There's so many things to me. Like personally, like I know for a fact, and because I know I've seen it, because I'm a bit dyslexic. I know I can write certain things in my head. I read them that way, but what I write will be different.
Yeah.
But to just class you like you don't know spellings, you know.
Can you rephrase the question there, Paul?
You want me to rephrase the question for you?
Because I think we just lost.
Actually, most importantly, again, I know that Ovi went on a tangent, and it's going to happen a lot, guys. Just bear with us because it's an experience-based topic. Everyone's going to have something to say about it, right? what Ovi was trying to say there, right, in terms of the structure, he said, yeah, okay, the education system where he was, they recognized that there are different types of, I guess, intellectually able people. They're different levels of learning, right? And they put you according to that. But then what they did after that was not enough. Obviously, he went into that, but he mentioned the structure of it there. He said, look, where I went to school, the structure was, if you were, say, for example, I don't know, good at maths, or you're just really good at maths all the time, or good at whatever subjects, you were put into A, for example, you know what I mean? And then if, your grades were sort of lower, so say, for example, between B and C, you'd be put in another class. Do you guys have anything else to add to that? What about like the grading system? Because, when you talk about education, the structure of education is normally the culture there, the grading system, I guess just the atmosphere, the ethos of whatever school you go to or whatever educational institution you go to. So Fred or Mpatso, what do you think about that? The grading system and all of these things. What was the structure like?
Go with that, Fred. I'll follow.
Throwing me to the snakes, eh? Well, for me, I'm also want to base it on experience, because I don't want to say much that I haven't experienced. I'd rather say something that I've seen already. The grading side, I wasn't that smart person when I was actually in high school and stuff. I used to play around, be with the bad boys sometimes. Started changing as I grew up. The grading system for me, as in when I was in primary school, we didn't have A, B, and C. It was just everybody one class, whether you were smart or you were lazy or whatever. You're all in one class. So when they grade you, they'll obviously after grading you, they'll put everything like on the paper, then post like the back of the issue there. So for me, every time I wouldn't want to go see there, because I already know I'm one on the below. So I would say, I'm trying to put it into the right words here, grading system. I think if everyone was graded according to for the knowledge that they have, I think it would have been way better. Because some other people take more information in than others.
Yeah.
As for a kid, growing, you needed to be graded according to what you know, instead of, okay, you don't know this compared to the other person. Because, for example, I was dumb. I only took longer. I had longer time to actually learn this.
Yeah.
I'll just pass it to you, MP. Trying to find the right words there, but I can't find them.
Okay. Well, you know what? I'll just cut it short. Like, if you talk about the grading system coming from Malawi, like the grading system really depends on the schools that you're going to, because then we have the private and then we have the public schools and stuff.
Yeah.
In the private schools, that's where they'll be grading you as the Cambridge kind of grading, like the A, B, C, and D stuff, where it'll be, depending on the good grades, you'll be graded as an A star being, top, and then, all the other grades, D and E, there. So is it ungraded as well? Is this something of that sort?
Nah, they didn't go that far. I think it's just the same as the living set. They never went to you.
I think there is something like that, like you're not graded or something like that, where you don't really have, achieved anything. And then for the public schools, it's where you're graded just percentage. So you go with the percentage, and then if you're top class percentage, that would be maybe on the say if you're studying 10 modules, that will be subjects. They will grade all those with the percentage, and then average that, and then you be average. And then if you're 20 people in the class, if your average kind of beats all those 20 people, you be top. And if your average doesn't get to that, then you be the lowest in it. To add on to the structure of school, like I said, there is a private and the public part. Where for the private, it's more of, it opens doors to the world. That's where you have you're more like learning into like international roles. Like, while if you're in public, that's funded by the government and it's actually just supported within, and you'll be learning the mother tongue there, but then a bit of English in it and stuff. So yeah, that's the kind of school, so I went to the private one. So yeah, that's the only structure I could actually contribute to the education structure part.
I actually disagree on the private public part, because I think for me, I feel like yeah, you got a point by saying that you maybe have more opportunity if you go to a private school because you have more resources. But
Yeah.
then I think the structure is still similar, you know, and
It is, yeah.
It's
still
only getting
similar.
better now. Like,
It's still similar in a sense that just to summarize what everyone said in a nutshell, the structure of a school was you go to that school and you have to you pretty much have to adhere to the syllabus, you know, or whatever it is they've set for you to learn. So for example, if you're thinking, if I want to grow up one day to be a pilot, what you're going to learn in school is going to be maths, geography, all these things, but you find that most of the things are not going to apply to what you're trying to learn, if you know what I mean. So the structure was, this is what we've got for you, this is what you're going to take in, this is how you need to do it to pass it. It wasn't really, this is what we've got for you, this is what you need to take in, but also learn from it, make it better, make yourself better, you know. So
It was basically, you have to learn all subjects in order for you, if you want to be a pilot or a doctor or stuff, you all have to take in everything, which didn't make sense, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me just bring up a comment before I bring in the next question. So we got a comment from Vanessa. Hey Vanessa, thank you for joining today. She says, look, I think the current structure doesn't help people in the real world. There's a lot that children are not taught but need when they get out of school. This is true. We will get to that point, Vanessa. Thank you very much. So look, you know, so seeing as that the education structure is like this, so it's pretty much, listen, you either make it or you don't sort of type of structure. It's not a, you know, we're gonna sort of help you become who you want to be, right? Why is it like that? You know, have you, like, just based on your experience, I'm not really asking for, hey genius, why do you think this is, you know, this was built this way? I'm thinking to myself, you know, you being a person who was told you need to go to school so that whatever, why do you think the education system was built this way, you know?
I think I'm going to start off with that one. What I've seen and what I've thought since obviously I've come here is, I think that whole system was never meant to teach you to be independent. Like it wasn't there for you to become an entrepreneur or to become a businessman just by yourself, or to start off a business yourself. I think it was always there to make sure that you learn how to obey. It was there. You have to know how to do structure. The way they used to wake you up in the morning by the demands of the school. By 9 o'clock, you have to be in class. I think it was 8 for some of us. By this time, you have to make sure you're going to break. By this time, you have to do this. Tuck in your uniform, wear a tie. Similar to when you go to an office, tuck in your shirt, wear a tie. So all this structure was made and engineered and tailored very well for you to just do your 9 to 5 job somewhere and be under somebody at the top, and for you to be able to listen. That's how it is. Because sometimes, I don't know if you've noticed this, it's only now. Before, when I started traveling, is my system, myself, I couldn't understand when I see people having freedom in the office, you know, like they're doing something that the boss is not supposed to tell them, something independent, or freestyling something. I always used to say, oh guys, have we supposed to do it this way? I would never divert away from what is supposed to be done. While if you go, this is come back from our schools, they never gave us, you're not allowed to think outside the box. If they see you drawing something, even if you're an artist, even if you're amazing in class, your teacher will tear that and throw it in the bin and say, concentrate. So that's why I think that structure is for. Yeah. So it was meant for you to be controlled, for you to learn, to teach you for a factory job or for an office job, 9 to 5, tuck in, your tie is in, and comb your hair. You're always no tattoos, things like that. So it was preparing you for such a job. So that's what I think it's meant for.
Just to add in what Patrick said, it's mainly about rules, about you have to follow rules. You know what I mean? It's basically, for example, when you train your dog to do this when they're a young age, and then when they grow up, they'll be able to be like, oh, sit and stuff. Basically, like 100 years or plus years ago, people were going to school as for factory working. So basically, you were prepared to follow rules. Whatever you do, like, oh, sit down, open a book, stand up, raise your hand if you want to talk. So it's basically, before you do something, you have to be taught to do it. You have to dress a certain way. So it was just to prepare you to work under someone. No, that's why most people, like for example, doctors have to be like 7+ years to be a doctor, then to work for the government, and then most of them, they have very smart, but they never go beyond that. They just earn a certain amount. Well, so just to finish up there, it's basically about rules. If you don't follow rules, you were kicked out straight. If your tie wasn't tucked in, you stand on the corner, hands up. It's punishment. Whatever wrong thing you do, there's punishment. So everybody had to follow rules in order to fit society from that time.
No, that's absolutely true. You couldn't have said it more. I mean, both of you said it right, actually. I think the system worked. Back in the days during the industrial ages, where numbers needed to be filled in certain positions, right? Taxpayers need to be there to maintain a community. Somebody looked at it. That's what I think. Somebody looked at it at a broader sense and said, how can I turn these guys into workers? You know what I mean? How can I turn this group of people into workers? They need to know basic maths. They need to know how to navigate. They need to know how to, administer themselves, take care of themselves by drinking the right medicine. They need to know how the environment works so that they maintain everything around them. What do? Introduce these subjects so that they pass them to this standard so that they can be this sort of people.
Facts, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if that was the case,
right,
you tell me, why did they bring me and the boys into a class and teach us about our grasshopper? If that's part of our environment, why did I have to sit in an exam and mention abdominal movement of a grasshopper and mention all that stuff if it has to do with the environment to help me in any kind of way?
Yeah, go on, MP.
Do I look like I need to know about pollination?
So Ovi, when it comes to that, like it's just a general and basic kind of thing that they try to create to say that they try to expose you to all the studies so that you could actually choose your own career path. But then, and realistically, a lot of countries do not give you the option to choose your career path at a very young age. So it's a very difficult, kind of.
But they don't do that at home.
And your parents cannot even decide that for you as well.
They're gonna tell you, we're gonna learn about the filament, pollination, and like I'm not gonna be a gardener. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yes,
You know what, Vida? I have an answer for you for that. Do you know where it was? Okay, it was like survival of the fittest. It's like it's a cage match. At the end of the day, they'll choose the best. These small small sprinkles they were throwing on you is to see who later on is going to be selected. That's why, you brought me back. Do you remember when you in back home where it used to also happen here, but it stopped, where they used to wait for you, you do well, then they come and select you to go to university. They come and select you.
Yeah.
It's because that's why they're giving you those small ideas of learn this. Some of you people will sit in the class, I don't care about those bugs, and then you fail, Then some people are picked up.
But have you noticed the system here? They try to put you towards what you are capable of doing and what you like.
It is tailored to the student.
No,
it is tailored to the student here.
Yeah, it is tailored to what you feel comfortable with doing. While our system is, this is how it's going to be.
Whoa. It's not just the system in Africa that does that.
No, I'm not saying only, but I'm just giving an example of out of
because if you said in Africa, because that system in Africa is the system of here.
Yeah, exactly.
We whatever has been given Africa is what's here.
You tell me if that's what's given in Africa. I'm going to give you an example. I am training to be a personal trainer. You tell me where in Africa there's a school you can go to train to be a personal trainer. No, I'm giving you an example. If you're telling me in Africa, they tell her in what you want to do.
Right.
No, but the thing is about personal training is a bad example because
No, it's not about okay. Hairdressing.
Dude. You're talking about specialized training, right? But
He's not about college and stuff.
If you're asking about the fundamentals of becoming a personal trainer, biology teaches you nutrition. You know what I mean? Physical fitness as well. So when you do PE and stuff like that, you learn about your anatomy.
Mr. Boswell, Bambino.
Shout out to Mr. Boswell there.
So it gives you those basic necessities. Now, when you're talking about narrowing into that speciality, this is where probably Africa lacks because they don't know the resources are not there. You know, the resources are not there.
What I'm trying to say is in Africa, we just work in a way that if you don't pass at a certain level, you can't go extra mile. You know what I mean? Say if you don't pass, they say your IGCS, if you fail them, that's
sorry to cut you off there. I think the one answer that could give you this is that Africa is still developing. As you're here, it's developed countries. They've developed the systems. They've developed systems that cater to those specialized paths. They've made sure that you're not working as an agro, economy whereby you dependent on just, certain systems that feed, the people and, feed certain areas of the country. While here you can be an artist, you can be anyone that you want to, because then all those areas were fixed and the structure now is fully, established, So that's where it comes difficult.
Cool.
Let
me just cut. I'll just cut in there real quickly, guys. For those that are joining, welcome, guys. We're talking about the problem with the education system. So far, we have defined the structure of the education system, whereas it's one of those where it's like a streamlined sort of teaching method where you have to pass. Yeah, you're given a certain grade, a certain standard. You reach a certain standard, this is the information we're going to give you, basically. And it's pretty much a one-shoe-fits-all sort of style. And we've also discussed why, why it's this way, and a few good answers there, guys. But you guys in the comments, let us know what you think, why the current education structure exists. You know what I mean? I'm just going to read a few comments here. We've got NEMS Repairs saying, look, African education is more like learning by heart and not mind. It's more like grooming than training. See, NEMS, I don't think it's just African education, though. I think
it's everywhere, man. It's in Russia, everywhere.
It's everywhere.
There's certain places where you go, they're like, dude, this is what we're going to do to pass the test. You know what I mean?
What's the word again? Retention, memory, yeah?
Mind retention, memory retention, correct. Kita K says studying in both England and Malawi. I disagree. So I think she disagrees to the I think somebody said
system. I think education system or something like that.
Yeah. Another comment. Kita K is on a roll here. She says you were not competing against any of your peers in high school. And in high school, 11 to 16 years old, I wasn't forced to do subjects. I studied what I wanted. If you were a creative person, you would pick arts. Okay.
That's England, though. That's
England. Shout out to England.
In England, that was the case, but in
Africa, that was not.
There were certain subjects you were not allowed to drop. There were certain subjects you
could only. They even told you what to drop. That you only have got these 3 options to drop. Literature was one of them.
Of course.
So
I was forced to pick. Was it
physics or chemistry or something?
I didn't pick physics anything. I was good at physics. I hated chemistry with a passion.
No surprise.
Yeah. So she goes on to say, I think England
definitely has a better structure.
That's it. It definitely has a better structure and can't be compared to Malawi. I think Ovi said it. It caters to the student and their capabilities. Kita, again, I can, England's got the resources, yes, but I don't think the structure is right. We're talking about the structure here. The resources are there for you to maybe be who you want to be. You can sort of see where you're going. That's the good thing about England because it's right in front of you. But think about the kid in Malawi who wants to be a rock star.
No option.
name the rock star that you've ever seen in Malawi. Do you know what I'm saying? And
Who
but
wants
it's
to be Batman can never happen in Malawi. Batman can never happen in Malawi.
but don't only you only think about
That's the thing.
those. No, those guys. Those things are kind of extreme. But like the simple things like I talked about,
like a
you know what I
hairdresser,
mean?
professional
Yeah,
hairdresser.
professional hairdresser, a makeup artist, and things like
Can
that.
I-
You know what I mean?
Can I just add in real
Yeah.
quick? You know, those things you're actually mentioning, Ovida, they're actually backed up by, the government helps. It's easy to find jobs that pay well in those departments here in Europe. You know what I mean?
Yes,
In
you're right.
Malawi, Africa itself, to open a job as a hairdresser, you won't be earning as much. You know what I mean? So a lot of people, you can't go to school and then drop out. Oh, I'll open a saloon. Come on, you've wasted a lot of years. You know what I mean?
But
Here
It's
you
all
can.
about minimum wage. I think so.
Yeah.
But it's about putting it out there to say this should be a profession.
Yes,
That's
but
the
the
whole
thing is
point.
that, like
It's about the
what
government
MP
standing up and
says,
saying, yeah.
like what MP says, we're still developing. We can't compete with the countries here. You know what I mean? The wages that I'm getting, people who are doing hairdressing and going to physical training, as in you actually go to school to study physical training. In Malawi, you can't go there. We don't have those schools. We don't have people teaching that because the government doesn't pay people to be doing that. We don't have colleges for that.
We don't invest in skills in Africa. We don't invest in skills.
No.
We only invest in the major ones. Once you graduate,
that's what I'm saying. That's why I was trying to say that the structure is not good because you don't invest in skills. Because I noticed, like you guys, a person that is good as doing Photoshop, that's a skill. You know, this person doesn't need to go and start studying geography. He doesn't need
and that's the problem of the government, because the government doesn't want to change its way of thinking, or what's been basically been taught hundreds of years ago. We're still using them until now in Africa. Europe has evolved into that. That's why
what's the next question before we just
one second. I know you're saying we're still a developed country, right? Is South Africa a developed country or a developed country?
South Africa is a developed country. It's a developed country.
Okay, so I'll tell you, the education system in South Africa is worse than Malawi.
So I've heard about the metric.
You are trying to tell me we're just a developed country. That's why we can't get that.
We're a developing country.
We're a developing country. That's why we can't get that. South Africa is a developed country. You say that we have a better education system.
Developing.
Ovida, there's other countries that are in Europe have got a more poor system than Malawi.
Exactly.
So, look, at the end of the day, it depends on the system that's in the country.
But the poor countries in Europe that have got have got better education system, they're poorer than Malawi.
They have the financial resources to back themselves up.
Okay.
I think let's move on before we dwell on this.
Okay, before we drag this along, I'm just gonna read the comments again. Some of the comments, all right. So Keita's case says, look, even drama and arts were definitely encouraged at school. Where in Malawi you have to pick something professional, definitely, and this ties in with what I think it's what Innocent Jimbayo said. Innocent, welcome. He said, "Look, African education is more focused on the few common careers." Yeah, that is true.
I want to be a doctor. I want to be a pilot. I want to be what else?
And then he says mainly because we have a limit in what people can learn, and we feel like these are the things one can learn and benefit out of. He also continues to say, we normally don't see the potential of an individual. I couldn't agree with you more, Innocent.
You remember the movie, The Boy That Harnessed the Will, is it?
Yes.
The wind. Yeah. That's a very interesting thing that you have to understand, how Africa's got talent. Like many countries have got so many talents, right?
Yeah.
But there's always that part whereby people are not given the chance to, develop their skills in that area of interest,
Yeah. That is
so
true.
It goes back to the system.
That is true. Funny story. I did voiceovers for that movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You can check the credits. My name is in there.
Wow. We didn't know we have a celeb here, guys. We have a celeb.
We have a celeb here.
So back to the next question. Okay. So the next question is, does this system fulfill potential? So, I mean, it's as simple as that. Does the current system that is there, is it fulfilling one's potential? So what I'll say is, I'll ask you guys personally, do you think the education system you went through fulfilled the potential that you could have been, or the potential that was seen in you, or the potential that you believe you had? Let's start with Patrick. Of course, I can see already you're nodding your head.
The simple answer is no. As I said, I passed all my stuff by memorizing, and I didn't understand anything. And when I left the country, went to Russia, and I was given another way of how to do that, you really have to understand this. I was exposed. I was exposed. I should be honest. I was exposed because I tried to memorize stuff, and the teacher would be like, "No, that ain't it. You had to understand what I told you in the class. You had to understand what the practical stuff is." So it didn't help me in any way. I am maybe it's horrible to say this. If my teachers are watching this, I'm sorry. None of that helped me. Maybe it was my fault for memorizing, but that's what was required for me to do in able to pass. Because most of the times, to be honest with you, somebody will come in front of the class, start writing notes. Like, oh my God. Like, do you remember when the teacher comes in and writes notes and notes and notes on the board, and he raises this side and he jumps on back that side again? Like, what the hell? Then he says, go home and study. Like, what do you want me to do? You haven't explained much. So there was not much teaching. There was not much learning at the end. It was just, I go home, I memorize this. I don't understand what Hitler did until later on in life. I understand more. I just memorized that Hitler was the bad guy, blah, 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 blah. 1974, he did blah, blah, blah. NATO, 19, you know what I mean? So it never helped me. As I said, I was exposed when I went to Russia, and it was time for me to actually, I had to learn and understand what has to be said. There was no notes. It was just understand and go research. You see, so system changed for me. So look, that's what I can say. For me, it never fulfilled potential. It's only when I went to Russia, I learned another way to do it. That's how I fulfilled my potential now and opened my mind.
Okay.
Yeah,
thank you.
I'll add in there. I would say it only fulfills for only a select few. You know, when you're kids, like, I want to be a doctor. So it's only for those ones who wanted to be doctors, not for some of us. You know, only a select few. For some of us wanted to be designers and stuff, and but back then, designing wasn't a big thing. It wasn't something you can actually be like, oh, mom, I want to be a designer. She just smack you in the head like, you read here, accountant, manager, or doctor. Basically that. If you try to do this, like, no, lawyer, these things. So every time, like, I keep going blank. I don't know why. But anyway. I don't know why. I keep going blank. Thinking so many things at the same time.
Code on HD.
4K.
4K. All right.
So I would say, I'll put it simple as well. Just no. When I get back my thoughts together, sorry guys, my thoughts are mixed up.
That's fine. What Fred is trying to say there, look, he's saying for a select group, it works because obviously they pick the common careers, the working man sort of careers. If you want to be a lawyer, if you want to be a teacher, if you want to be this, the subjects are already there. I mean, if you want to be a teacher, you already see a teacher in front of you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, fact. Yeah.
Also, I guess to add on to that, if we're comparing systems, I think for me, I feel like the system might be bad, but also the person who's presenting this system to you, if they're both bad, then you just get a double whammy, basically, all right? Because I think for me, in my walks of life, I've met different types of teachers, right? I've met very, very good teachers who are like pretty much life coaches or share their experiences or try and help you understand things better, But then there's some teachers that come in, the first thing they say, guys, what I'm going to do is help you pass this exam. Do you know what I mean? So there's a difference in there. I think the system itself, in general, only fulfills it for a certain amount of people, I think, but not for everyone else. Does it fulfill whoever built the system? It fulfills what they want to do. They want taxpayers. So yeah, it does.
I find this funny. It only took one teacher to teach one subject, but it took one student to learn seven subjects. That's how crazy the system is.
It's crazy, isn't it?
I think, you had mentioned earlier there, the people that built the system, as far as I've known, were the elite that were, and the fact of that they were building up the industrial, industrial system, right? And that was them trying to just build some structure for themselves to say that if we want to perfect this, if we want to reduce the money that we spend on certain, things, we have to learn how to reduce this through educating the people that are going to be handling this, kind of things, right? So it has been in the books, there has been a uniform flow whereby you cannot go out of that, out of that process to kind of do something different. So now you've seen that anyone else like that tries to go out of the system, it's either they're written off as a dropout, but then, as we all know, that most of the rich guys, the billionaires, are the dropouts. So could we say that? Could we say that the system that was put forward was really good? I would say no.
That is a very, very good point. I'm glad you brought that one up. I mean, look at it, the people that dropped out of school that are actually fulfilled their potential. Bill Gates, Elon Musk. You've got
Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos. Actually, Jeff Bezos studied economics, so he doesn't count. Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
You've got quite a few people that did not go to school.
Einstein was a dropout.
He got
expelled. He was a troublemaker.
He got expelled from school.
Arguing with the teacher.
Yeah, that's correct.
Wait a minute. Just on that, does that show that maybe when these people dropped out, it gives you more time to perfect the craft, whatever craft you go into?
Yeah,
you focus on one craft. Basically,
I had a question for MP.
Fans. Abramovich, he dropped out of school at age 17. So yeah,
I have a question for MP. One time, if you don't mind, I have a question for MP since he was. MP, you say that these millionaires are the ones who, or these guys, top class people, are the ones who created all this to structure workers. Why didn't they just take these people and just say, we're going to teach you how to just be a factory worker? Why didn't they do that then?
Well, see, the story is that. Say that again. Sorry, the network.
You say that these like people at the top, right? People who say, I want somebody to work at my shop, so blah blah blah. Why didn't they just turn them into like, I'm gonna just teach you how to be somebody at the shop, how to just do the till and straight how to pack things on the shelf? Why didn't they just do that? Just out of interest.
I can answer that if you want.
You know what, life is full of evolving turns, so the will is that when you pretty much train someone else, they're going to be your workforce until some certain age they retire, so you still have to put someone else replacing that. And in that sense of that, you can put someone else in the same line to say, you do this and you do it. Everyone else has an interest whereby you get bored with doing something and you want to do something different. You know what I mean? So
you say by putting them in school, giving them 7 subjects, keeps them excited.
Yeah, at least you have a different path to go to.
Okay, let me make this a little bit simpler for you. Okay, think about it this way. Every education tells you what? Every education tells you, hey, do you want to be this person? Okay, we can do that for you. All you need to do is pay this much. But guess what? We're just gonna teach you how to function as a normal human being, so that you can work at the factory. Because they don't tell you about the work at the factory part. You know what I mean? Because if people wanted you to become a factory worker, for example, if the government said, "Listen, we're gonna make you go to school so you become a factory worker," how many kids are gonna go to school? Not many.
Not many. Remember that in the interview where you go they ask you what do you want to be in the next 5 years? Yeah. And if you go answering that, you say that I want to be sitting where you are. It's you put that fear in the interviewer where they say, oh, this guy's going to steal my job. They won't be eager to give you that position. So you're told enough just to sit where they want you to sit.
Yeah, no disrespect to the factory workers, but I mean, let's be honest here. You know, it's not exactly something that somebody aspires to be. You know, and I think every parent wants the best thing for their child, and I don't think if this system said you're going to be a factory worker, the parents would be too eager on getting their children through that sort of system. That's what I would think. Just going to get into the comments before I get to the next question as well. So. Innocent says, look, the system doesn't fulfill potential at all. He says, for me, it didn't fulfill. And I am a private chef out of watching TV and reading and cooking books. It was just a waste of time for me. You see,
That's a good passion.
it's a good point. I wouldn't say that the education was a waste of time. I think education, we can't just bash education. Let's put it that way. You know,
Yeah, that's true.
education taught us to be on time, to write properly, to spell, to count, to read, to sort of
Have manners.
yeah, to have manners, to listen, you know. So those things that you're saying you went and did, education did that for you. Obviously, the passion side, I can agree, you probably didn't do that for you. The creativity probably did not do that for you. But then you went and found the requirements for what you need to be, you know. So that's on the flip side. That's one of the things I would say.
So it's not all bad.
Not
But
all
then,
bad.
but then there was like a time, prehistoric time, where education was more like just storytelling. You know, they didn't want to overwhelm you with information. They told you with just a stage, so that, like, for example, in like understanding the weather, hunting, and all that stuff, it was all taught in kind of like just telling a story, and it actually had an interesting, touch to it. While education, in sense, the education that we have now is just retention. You just have to memorize, like Patrick said, and then you deliver on paper, and you're out of the equation. You know what I mean? So it's not. There's the fact of education now is it's not really putting interest in people. It's just putting fear.
It's always been like that, memorizing. It's always been running under memorizing, guys.
Innocent says all successful people are dropouts. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with it's not all, but yes, maybe most successful people are dropouts, but not all. There are a lot of people that went to school and they're successful, and then it depends on what you call successful. Innocent as
but
well.
you didn't. All these successful people.
Okay. Hold up, homie. Hold up. Let me scratch that again.
Guys,
Let's scratch that again. Hold up.
But you see this, Paul, like all these people that you say that actually completed, they've actually completed their education and now they're like doctors or whatever. The difference with them and the dropouts. Though, as in these guys are only like what? They're never like billionaires. You can't tell me someone is a billionaire doctor out there. No. Man.
There's a person put something on during the COVID. Someone put something online. She said it was a girl I seen that. She said she put a picture of a person working in the hospital, obviously during the pandemic, and she said the wage of this person. So she put I think it was in pounds. She said $14.50 an hour, right? And this was February care season, and then put a picture of Cristiano Ronaldo. And they say about fucking 400 sorry about my language, 450 to 500 a week.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just trying to get to the point of saying, when you're saying that these all the people that this is a person that went to school to be a nurse and is getting that money, and this person didn't go to school to be a nurse. All he had to do is keep up. So we can put in an example of someone who's just a musician. Like it's barely hard in certain countries, not only Africa, even in Europe. You find classes. You want to go to school where they've got music class, but someone that is blessed to actually understand music. I've seen those type of people that they'll play a beat and they will hear certain sounds that you or me cannot hear.
One tally.
Example, one tally. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's a passion.
It's not a passion. It's not a passion. It's something that you're born with. I don't think it's a passion.
It's a
Okay,
passion.
so you okay? All
For
time,
football, the
You're
passion
born
for
with
footballers,
passion,
you know that,
bro.
right?
No, guys. If it was a passion, guys, I have tried to play football. I had the passion of loving football.
No, he
I
didn't
was
have
never.
a passion. He just wanted to play,
No,
bro. There's a
Okay, you know,
difference.
he's right.
no,
He's right on this part. You
it's
can
not.
have passion, but you might not have talent.
You might not have the talent.
Mm.
You might have the passion, guys. Like when you're saying Wantali, he has the passion for music. He's an artist,
But he doesn't
for
have the
him,
talent.
no, but he has the talent as well of the music. I
Yeah.
can listen to music. I love music. I know music, but the talent of I know. 2 days ago, Wantali was making a beat and he was putting sounds that I've never heard in my life, but he could understand them. And I could hear on the background. Then he's trying to find out that this go ba ba boo boo ba ba.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
Anyway.
Moving it along. Guys, moving it along. If you're enjoying the content, guys, please smash a like. Also, if you're new, please subscribe. All right, please subscribe because it helps us grow our community. It also helps the videos reach other people, guys. I'm sure people would want to see what we're talking about. So help us get there, please, guys. All right. The next question, the next and final question: what change is needed to improve the system, if any? You know.
I got 2 minutes on.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All I can say is I think the new change that should be done to education system is whoever is teaching, if it's a lecture, whoever, they should work with the person individually, not forever. Just try to understand what are the likes of this person. Okay.
Mm.
What does this person want their next life to be into?
Mm.
You know, like the way it is worked in countries like where I am here in Ireland, where you are in England, everywhere else should be like that. Because if you tell me you go to your mother when you're younger and tell them, Mom, I want to be a DJ.
Yeah.
That conversation is not gonna end well, you know. But I think all countries should have a system where they should understand which path a person wants to take, what they really have a talent and passion in. Find out the talent, what they know, and probably put them towards that passion, that path, rather than forcing them to get themselves into class, into something that they can't really get their brain around.
Okay.
I think that's what I think.
Just to add in on Ovi there, I think, like you said, individual growth is important, and test centers should also test kids according to what they're good at, to what they want to be, as in test them to certain things that they want to be. Whatever they prevail the most, teachers should magnify that so it can work for them as they grow in the future. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
Guys, I want to ask you personally, right? If you could go back in time, yeah, with the education system you went through, what would you want to be changed so that you reach your potential? Maybe I should ask it that way. What do you want to see change so it improves your learning experience? Maybe.
My start for somebody else.
To me, I think personally, I think if they had changed the fact that when you go to school, you should be given the choice and option to say, okay, this is what you're gonna do, so this is what you can study, and this you should study what you're good at.
Okay.
I think it should minimize the subjects given to children, because 7 is a lot for one person to take. You know what I mean? Minimize it 5-4, I think. So at least you can focus on those things, and then you can choose what you want. You know.
Okay. What do you guys think, Pato and Patrick? What do you think?
MP, do you wanna go first? I go first.
All right. I'll go first.
Go ahead.
All right, sorry about that. My network just skipped a bit. So the story is, I think I'll start off with just the first things first. Just like work, right? Just like work, school has to be changed in the same way, whereby the working hours, the school days have to be reduced, because then the system realistically in the world has been developed that it really takes up much of your lifetime, whereby you're not given a chance to develop other areas of your brain, other areas of you, areas of interest, because you're going to work 5 days a week. You've got only 2 days sitting there to say you have to recharge yourself. You've got the same thing going on with school, you do the same hours. Say you're going from like you have like the shortest days of school would be 190 days or something like that. Some would be pushed forward to like 230 or 40 and stuff. There is need of like as a child you're supposed to grow up and develop certain interests. You're not supposed to be put up like in a cubicle in a education center for hours and hours and not given a chance to develop yourself.
Wait. I disagree with that because I'll tell you why I disagree with that. Because, okay, we're talking about kids here. We're talking about children, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're saying that you should have less time at school, right? And more time doing something else, right?
Yeah.
Who's going
doing what?
Exactly. Who doing what to start
All right,
with?
okay.
And who is going to administer that time? You know what I mean?
This is more of an idea of like what I think in general, where the opinion is that this would be an area whereby days would be cut down depending on the level of the classes that you're going in. So at a young age you need more supervision, but then as the older you get, at least there needs to be a window whereby if you're in high school, at least you need to have a bit of time to do certain activities that would actually develop your skills. So let's say music, you want to develop in that. Art, you want to develop in that. Computer coding, whatever and stuff, you want to develop in that, instead of having to stay all week in school and then do all your homeworks and then do everything, and then you have so little time to actually concentrate on that little thing that you have interest in. So
hold on,
maybe
Patso, your point was you want to reduce the academic hours, the learning hours, right? Because I think in your sense you're speaking. You're. I don't know what to assume, but I'm thinking that you're saying the academic hours are always just about reading books, listening to lectures, and all these things. Do you know what I mean?
So, see, there is like extracurricular activities and stuff like that. Yes, but then the sense of reducing, whereby you're going to school Monday to Friday, maybe cut off one day, whereby you could have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, where you could actually focus into some certain area that you have interest in, whereby you could also recover from all the activities in school. You could do your homework on a Friday, you have Sunday and Saturday to do something else different, just like work is, whereby you could work Monday to Thursday and then have Friday to reflect on what you did the whole week, and then Saturday and Sunday would be relaxing or doing something that would actually develop your brain in certain areas. That's what I mean. So another point is, I feel it's the choice of path, just the way Ovita said it. I think you have to be given a choice of path in life, where I think it has to spread all across the world, because most countries just have certain special areas that you can specialize in, and that's where you're going to be a doctor, a pilot, or whatever and stuff like that. There needs to be a developing kind of like program that would help you to do different things as well. So yeah, that's all I have to say. I don't have anything else to share with you guys.
I had so many questions when
you have so much.
Saying
you
there.
always have things.
Because first of all, I remember there used to be sports day. So sports day, obviously, I'm pretty sure is to give kids a breather. I don't know, when I went to other schools, there used to be art day or music day. So those days that they were trying to get you to do other things. Look, for me, I'm just going to cover everything. Look, less academia and more learning. Education should be student driven, so it should be driven. I'm just going to conclude whatever you guys say. Students and teachers should be treated like people, not robots. That's the main thing. The issue we had back in the days is, as even wanted to say, some of the teachers didn't look like they were very qualified, or they never wanted to be there. So maybe these teachers should be selected very well. And if you select better teachers, and if you select teachers who are willing or passionate about teaching, maybe they'll pass that knowledge to the kids.
Some of the teachers look like they were forced to take that career path.
Some of the teachers, man. You remember Mr. Chupa? No. Come on, man.
Okay.
Can I say one more before we close? School should be likable. School should be likable, and I think also parents should change as themselves, because parents shouldn't torture kids at home, right? And make their school experience, put unnecessary pressure on kids, pick what they have to become in the future. You mustn't be at the age of a certain age, like 5, and they tell you, "Oh, Patrick, you're going to be a fireman," and I'll be like, okay. I'll be like, is there another choice? No. You're going to be a fireman. If you don't become a fireman, I'm not going to pay your school fees. So parents should also change. Parents and schools should work together to be able to better what the student wants. So that's why I like that parent and teacher thing here, like in Ireland, where you sit down with the teacher and they explain to you that your daughter is very good at singing, your daughter is very good at dancing, your daughter is good at doing this. It helps, you know what I mean? So those things had to be done back in the days, which for me, when I go to the parent teacher conference in Malawi, all they were saying is Patrick is rubbish in maths. Patrick is rubbish in maths. You know, Patrick failed again. Next term, if he fails, he's gonna go to class C, as Ovida said. They never discussed that. Oh, by the way, Patrick can play football, or Patrick can do this. Patrick was singing. So you see,
Patrick is a good
change both sides. Yeah.
Patrick is a good salesman. They never say that.
They never say it. So I think parents should have worked together with the teacher to better to cater to what the child needed. That could have been better for all of us, not force us to do things we never wanted.
100%. I agree, but let me just give it a little. I'm gonna
stir it.
Conclude this whole thing, right?
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
What I think should be improved in school, basically. Yeah. Guys, for me, when I was going through school, the one thing that nobody asked me is why I'm there. You know, that's the one thing that no teacher, lecturer, whoever asked me to say, why are you here? You know, what are you doing here? You know, because that question never gets asked. And if you don't ask that question, are you going to think about what you need to do? Because at the end of the day, here's what happens, right? You're born, you grow a little bit, parents go, you have to go to school. You go, why? You get this. You get
if you ask why, my answer would have been because my mom woke me up in the morning to go to school.
Because my mom told me to be here. Do you know what I mean?
She said I should be here.
That's the first mistake already. You know what I mean? You're there because your parents are telling you need to be there. All right. Then the next part is, oh, you're not doing so well. We're going to tell your parents you're in trouble. Okay, I'm in trouble because I didn't do what you told me to do. I don't want to do it, but you're telling me to do it. I think that is the first part. What does that tell me, right? That tells me that you're not unlocking people's minds. You know, by asking that question, you're sort of putting something in there. Why are you here? That's the first question. Because we go straight to what do you want to be? But then they ask you what do you want to be when you grow up, like 5 years into forcing you to have this education. You know what I mean? So I think the first thing that needs to happen is, guys, ask the question. Why are you here? You know?
What's your end goal?
Why do you want to be here? I believe they should ask this question. Maybe every year? Just ask you, why do you want to be here? What's your end goal? Do you want to be like me? Because this is not how I did it. You know what I mean?
And they never ask you why you failed in the first place, you know?
Yeah, exactly. That they didn't ask you that. They don't ask you that at school.
They have to ask you, okay, why did you fail? Like, I don't like the subject. At least you have an understanding, you know?
Exactly.
Have you seen that video?
2 seconds. 2 seconds. Okay. Let me finish. So, that's one of the things. For me, basically, I'm just going to speak about the basic side. Why are you here? Firstly. Secondly, I've never been in a classroom when I was learning in Malawi, more in Malawi than maybe here. I've never been in an environment where the lecturer or the teacher sort of invited my thoughts. Do you know what I mean? It was normally what happened in this year. A, B, C, D. They didn't say, oh, but why do you think that happened? You know, they didn't invite thought. It wasn't, so for me, I feel like learning is inviting what you think. And then you look at the facts and you go, oh, wow, okay, so that's what happened. You know, I thought based on my understanding, this is what happened. So I realized later, because I was terrible at studying, terrible at reading books. I realized later that I'm a visual learner, because all my life I felt like, oh my goodness, I'm just average or I'm just dumb because the school has told me that I'm dumb. You know what I mean? But then when you start realizing that you're good at watching videos and learning what the videos are doing and then you mimic that or make it better, and then you start realizing, oh, I'm kind of smart, so these things for me, this is what I feel needs to change. You need to understand how people learn. You also need to put that in their mind, what they're trying to do, what are they trying to achieve, what's the end goal, I think that's important. But yeah, if anyone has anything else to add, please.
Ovita.
I was about to be saying that. Have you seen that video? Like the way you're saying that, they never ask what you really want to be. So this video was very funny. I seen it was an African, and they were asking every student, what you want to be, what you want to be. And this child just stood up and said, hey, what you want to be? Everyone say pilot and all that, because that's typical in Africa. And just say that, me, I want to be a witch doctor. That's the kid. But he said in Chichawa, I said, when you grow up, what do you want to be? Another one stood up and said, me, I want to be a fireman. Me, I want to be a policeman. Me, I want to be a president. And this one just stood up. And this guy said, I want to be a singanga.
AKA witch doctor. Okay.
Yeah, AKA witch doctor.
Okay.
But anyway, guys,
yes.
Before we close, I just want to say this. I appreciate for all you guys who've been going to our shop for our merch. As you see, we're putting it on. Boys, flash that merch. We appreciate your support ever since we've dropped the merch. There's good support. People coming in, buying all sorts of stuff, hoodies, bags, and all that. We appreciate it. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't actually be here. You know what I mean? We appreciate that few pounds that you're spending to actually ask to get this merch. We want you to continue that. And make sure, keep on subscribing, liking, sharing these videos to your friends, to your friend that a friend is a friend, and make sure you're back then. And then tomorrow, as you know, is a big day as well. That's the fun part.
We the best.
One time is going to take this part. What's going to happen tomorrow?
Tomorrow we've got IG live, guys. We go live on IG. I think what's gonna happen is we're live at 8 p.m. It's a more relaxed show that we normally sit back and talk about whatever it is you want to talk about, relationships and all funny things like that, guys. All right. So join us on IG live at 5Roundz Podcast. All right. Also, just wanted to cover off what we just did here. So we spoke about the problem with the education system, guys. All right, what we covered today was what the structure is like now, why it is like that. Does it fulfill potential? What change is needed to improve it as well, guys. If you have any more thoughts on this topic, any more to add to it, please put it in the comments as well. We appreciate that. Lastly, you've had me, Wantali, you've had Patrick, you've had Patso, you got Ovi and Fred, guys. What is the name of this show, boys?
5 rounds.
5 rounds.
5 rounds, guys.
Chill out, boys.